Good evening and welcome in, Warriors, to another edition of the R&R Sports Report. My name is Randy Isbell. With me, as always, Mr. Robert Hagan. Robert, 80 episodes now. And the bigger number, we are 20 episodes away from 100. We're also 20 Facebook followers away from pain. That's how I look at it. How's it going?
Yeah, it's just crazy to think about, and a lot of this is all coming from our friends from the MMA world. It was a crazy night the other night. Still trying, almost got my voice back. Still working on that, but it's been a little rough though. But great turnout for the guys. We'll talk about that here in a couple of minutes. But yeah, excited. T-minus about 11 days till I fly out to Vegas.
Yeah, so even if we get 20 followers instantly, we will have Robert do his training session with these guys after Nationals. I'll be nice to you, Robert. I'll let you prepare yourself and not go down to Vegas to bowl injured.
No, it's just and Jared, big old smile on his face. He says, It's just about time. We're gonna get you up there. We're gonna get you." So,
and so I told you, everyone is so excited for you to do the training.
It'll be interesting to see what happens, but yeah, it'll be nuts. So there. Hey, I know we normally start the show a lot of sports stuff and all that, but I kind of got a feel good story. I want to start.
That's why it's called the sports report. But yeah, go ahead.
I just got a little bit of a feel good story, and shout out to some folks here today. As you know, the Asokan County Fair just finished up, the fair and rodeo and all that. Great turnout. But how about the young man that's battling cancer in our community, getting behind him and basically raising $95,000 for this young man by selling his pig for $400 a pound. And shout out to those four buyers, one of which is my cousin, Dan Anderson Construction, Gary Peterson Keats, Ryan Rogers Motors, and I'm blanking on the other man, but splitting the $400 a pound going out to those guys to raise money, as they are going to donate half the proceeds go to cancer research. So hats off to our community and what they're doing. So I know it's not sports, but it's such a feel good story. It's got to be said out there.
No, absolutely. It was a very cool story. Haley was telling me about it a little bit last night. I didn't realize the background at first. She just told me how much the pig had gone for. And I was like, damn, that's expensive bacon. But once you get into the story and you understand the background and why it went the way it did, fantastic story. Congratulations. Good on those guys for doing it for a great cause. Also, you talk about feel-good story. I also want to give out as much good vibes from the R&R Sports Report. Gary Vaughn was a co-founder of the W2M network, which I helped put together with him and Sean Garmer and Eric Watkins and a few other folks. Other people have since taken it on. Gary no longer helps out with them. He's been busy with his 3 kids. Has not been a part of this show, but he and I still talk from time to time. But his dad is going through some medical stuff and will be having surgery tomorrow. So we just wish him the best of luck tomorrow and a speedy recovery for sure there. So before we get into the meat of our show, which the NFL draft is in 2 days, we will be doing a live reaction, live side by side.
3 days?
3 days. I'm not. It's not Tuesday. It's Monday. Today's Monday. So 3 days. I'm so used to being Tuesday, but we'll get to why we're doing this a day early when we hit the local sports, because holy God. But yeah, 3 days away for the NFL draft. The two of us, Eric Watkins and Harry Broadhurst from the Broadhurst Watkins Sports Report, original name still, guys. The 4 of us are going to get together and just live react through the whole thing. We've added a little bit more professional value than we did last year. We've taken some tips from people, from those that did stick around and watch last year's first round reactions. We will do our best to actually say who got picked before we start freaking out or reacting without still saying the name for 5 minutes. So those that are only watching us know what is going on. So we learned a lot, and we'll see where we go. That will be at 5 p.m. Pacific time on Thursday. That is when we will get started. And I know it's probably going to be 30 minutes before the actual first pick gets given after that, because they love to take their sweet ass time before they finally put Jacksonville on the clock. But you do what you got to do. So we got that going on this show. Obviously, baseball is starting to get into full swing. Basketball playoffs or something is going on right now. No one cares. But Robert, like you said, you were at this MMA event. Tell the people about it.
Yeah, the 2022 Clearwater Combat happened this past week. What a turnout. Over 1,500 people packing it in there at the Clearwater River Casino. Shout out to Austin Arnett. Did have a chance to chat with him a couple of times there. Hope to get him on the show here and talk about everything that went down there. But, our friends of the show turned out and did pretty well, as Team Execution handled themselves quite well. Couple of tough losses, but some really good wins by the team. Connor White comes away with a W. Tim Dwyer. Unfortunately, a friend of the show, Dimitri Morales, comes up just short in there against Nolan Sleddy. We had a couple of others that came out fighting, but the big ones, we had Brian McElroy won his bout in 31 seconds, taking down Santos Perez.
Crazy.
So now he holds a belt. He does have the welterweight title. And so, yes.
Sir, as a wrestling fan, belts hold up your pants. He has a championship.
a title, and we'll talk about that. Yeah, he holds a title there. Also, Jesse Gingler, in his first professional bout, comes out and pretty well dominates William Comstock. I did catch a cool picture of him up on top of the ring. Make sure you go back and look at some of those pictures. Did get a couple of pictures with the guys, but though Jesse is going to have a strong career also. In the co-main event, Gloria Grashanani comes up just a little short. And then our buddy Jared Fisher comes out in just over a minute and 10 seconds and knocks out Hunter Orgill to win his first professional bout. So hats off to that entire crew, Team Execution. Nothing but love. And those guys, the dominance that they had, and to listen to the crowd hoop and holler about that, it just unbelievable what MMA is starting to be here in the Valley.
Listen, you're giving out too much love, and I know it's just because that you're going to be the one training with these guys. But my question is, when are you going to challenge for Brian's championship?
Who? That's all you. You're probably closer in weight class than I am. And
once they get working with you and you get into shape, you're gonna trim right into whatever weight class Brian's at.
No, it's gonna be interesting. Jared had a big old smile on his face when I finally got to see him after his fight, and he was excited about where his opportunities are going to be going. Mm-hmm. So, we're going to dig in a little bit more and keep up with these guys, because there's a lot happening up at Arnett's Martial Arts and everything going on there. So, and there's all kinds of fight clubs all around. A couple, 3 or 4 up in Spokane, a couple in Moses Lake, Tri-Cities. So it's growing in the Pacific Northwest. So excited to see where their next bouts are. We'll hopefully get Austin on in the next couple of weeks, and we start talking about when some of these next dates are.
For sure. All right, let's move on to the NFL. We're going to do we did a full mock draft a couple weeks ago, but that was more, we were just trying to throw the last hour of a show together. We were so busy to put stuff in. It was a good way to waste an hour. But again, draft 3 days away. So we are going to do our final mock draft, and we are last time we talked back and forth and decided on a consensus. This time, we're just going to go back and forth. So any odd pick, Robert's going to get. Any even pick, I will get, and we will go back and forth. But first, go through a couple small news. Kirkuk skipping the draft because of a blood clot. Just like everyone else we talked about, speedy recovery to Kirk. I've always enjoyed Kirk on whatever broadcast he's on. He's very entertaining and obviously very knowledgeable.
Yeah, great mind, especially in the college rankings. Very well knowledgeable person, and I do like what he did. And for that guy to be at whatever place for college game day, and then to jump in a plane and fly possibly halfway across the United States to get to the game he's calling. That's got to put a lot of stress on the body and the family, especially for those 13 weeks that they are, huge into football games. So yeah, speedy recovery for him.
More fallout on Jacksonville overpaying everybody during this year's free agency. Deebo Samuel of the San Francisco 49ers has demanded a trade. Rumors are that he doesn't like being used in the running back role as much as they used him. I feel like there has to be more to that, because then they could just not use him in the running back role and make him happy, or pay him a buttload of money. Because I get it for Deebo's sake. He is a slim wide receiver, and when you do these running back roles, which he's fantastic at, but you're going to get hit by much bigger men than you would on the outside, and he's worried about his longevity and making the money. San Francisco could definitely fix that by giving him a full guaranteed contract, but maybe something else is going on there. But my question to you, Robert, and you can touch on your thoughts on the whole situation, but my question is, how long until the Jets give up the 10th pick to take Deebo Samuel?
I don't see that happening. I see more of the chance that San Francisco and them get something worked out. That would change their structure just a little bit, but they need him out there as a weapon out on the outside. I mean, he runs quite well and great to 40 time, and he can get down the field quickly. I don't see him doing as much running back stuff if they keep him like fly sweep or something like that. But I think that would be the smarter move for San Francisco, is not try to ship him off, but try to make him happy, put him into a bigger role on the receiving side of it, maybe doing something there. I don't see him going to that.
I've heard lots of wide receivers are in this NFL draft. So San Francisco, you don't even need Deebo. I mean, you don't even need the 10th pick. You could take the 35th pick or whatever the heck the Jets have. Come on. The Jets missed out on Tyreek Hill because he picked elsewhere to go. They were offering both their second round picks for him, and Kansas City would have accepted that trade. That has come out is just Tyreek had a no trade clause and picked Miami instead. So, hell, maybe the Jets could just give up the 2 second round picks. I just want somebody. I just want somebody. The Jets have been all in on all of these wide receivers as far as trading goes. They rumor was that they tried to get DK Metcalf for a 10th round pick, or the number 10 pick from Seattle. That was kind of a slap in the face to the Seahawks, because they were basically trying to trade Seattle their pick back. But the Jets they really want a top tier wide receiver for sure.
I still don't understand why what was out there for Hill to go down to Miami. I don't see a total 100. Well, again, the money is the big thing, but where's the upside to who you're playing with down there? I mean, that's the big thing that would be interesting for me to find out. What was so intriguing other than money to make you go down to Miami?
I'm not going to say that I know Tyreek or what is going through his mind, but just as a sports fan for many years, there's a interesting swing on a lot of players pre-championship and post-championship. Tyreek's got a ring.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's playing for Tyreek. Will he ever win a ring in Miami? Probably not. He's got one already. Now he wants the cash. And he definitely got it in Miami. Anybody that knows me or anybody that knows us knows that we are very excited for the NFL schedule to be released. Not only it's just sports fans, you like to know where things fall, but we run a NFL bowling league that our schedule can't be created until their schedule comes out because we use their schedule. And then I can start working on lane assignments and we can get rolling on our next year's bowling league. So usually shortly after the NFL draft, we get the NFL schedule and then I get to work. This year, the NFL has went, you know what? Our schedule gets leaked throughout that day. So we're going to slowly just drip out our schedule and drive this Randy Isbell moron nuts. So we're going to get one game on Thursday. We're going to get one game on Thursday. Your first, and it's a cool thing that they're doing this because it's the first time a Thursday night football game will be set exactly on Prime Video. So obviously Amazon spending lots of money. It's basically an advertisement for them. During the NFL draft, the first round, we will find out week 2, the first game there on Prime Video. That's it. That's all we're going to find out on Thursday. Then a week from Wednesday, May 4th, we're going to get the international games. And I watch it be the Jets and Packers because Haley and I are dead set on going to that game. That's going to be our big vacation this year. Now watch it end up in London and really mess everything up. So we'll get those on Wednesday. Then, quote unquote, the week of May 9th, you get select games. To me, that just reads the games that get leaked, we release them on purpose. It's not a, here's your Monday night football schedule, here's your Sunday night football schedule. It's just, oh, games got released, so we release them. And then, even dumber, Thursday, May 12th, 2 hours before the full reveal and 7 hours after the internet has already figured most of this out, teams can announce their first home game opponent. And then 2 hours later, we get the whole thing. Can this get any more complicated? Why do we have a schedule for a schedule release? I don't
Are you going to be one of those guys that are going to be the internet and you're going to sit here and you're going to do all the calculations of,
yes.
Okay.
Every schedule release day, when it's like, hey, we're releasing it in 6 hours, Twitter blows up and they start figuring it all out. And there's always somewhere where you can find a Google Doc that is getting updated constantly.
That's just,
and then by the time it's released, I already know 80% of the schedule.
That's just nuts. I can understand holding out for, the whole thing behind the Thursday night football, the first one for Prime Video. And like you said, they're trying to do something big there, but select games. What determines a select game?
The ones that get released. I already told you. The ones that get leaked. The NFL is going to come out. Yeah, we said that.
Yeah, man.
Because it's one of our select games. Because
they're just trying to string us along, pull us as far as we can do.
Some Chicago Bears secretary is going to leave the schedule on a table, and someone's going to take a picture of it. And then the NFL is going to go, oh, we released the Chicago schedule because it's one of our select games. That's no joke. I love watching Twitter during schedule release day. That's how these things happen. It's like all of a sudden pictures pop up because the NFL finally sends the schedules to the teams, and then somebody on the team accidentally leaks the picture. That's how it works. All right, let's get into it. Let's get into our mock draft.
All right.
This is our official mock draft, sure to go completely correct. We're going to get all 32 picks. No, actually, when do you think our first wrong pick is going to be?
Looking at where
don't say where we have, but just as player goes.
I think the first one that we're going to get wrong.
Yeah.
Thibodeau. I think
I just said don't say names.
I thought you said name, not
No, I said don't say name. Just say the position we're going to get wrong. So pick 3. There's your spoiler. Pick 3 will get wrong. We might get pick number 1 wrong.
I don't think
and
so.
We'll get to it right in a second. So let me play the fantastic NFL Films music, and let's get into it. Robert, you have the first pick. You are the Jacksonville Jaguars, sir.
All right. It's been talked about all spring. And
also, hold on. Also, if you're listening, if the music's too loud or quiet, let me know.
It has been all winter, all spring so far, and I think this guy goes number 1. It's got to be the edge rusher from Michigan. Give me Aiden Hutchins. He will be a Jacksonville Jaguar, and pretty much going to set the tempo for that ball club.
All right, got a score update on Clearwater Valley beating Kendrick. Thanks, Game Changer. So I was with you the whole way, and I still think I am. However, Pat McAfee announced or realized that on DraftKings, where you can bet on these picks or whatever, Aiden Hutchinson, who is the number one pick as far as odds go this entire time, this morning got pushed down to number 2. DraftKings is saying that Trayvon Walker now is the odds-on favorite to be picked number 1, which is definitely very interesting to me. But
I think they could be 1-2, but I still think there's a little bit more draft leverage with Aiden Hutchins. So I think we've got the first 2 right there.
Yeah, as my second pick is Trayvon Walker for the Detroit Lions. Good chance they flip-flop. There's a chance Detroit goes quarterback here. There's a chance Detroit trades out. Who knows? It's a complete mess. My favorite is if you start looking at all these different mock drafts that are all over the internet now, from people that study this stuff way more than we do. There are people that have 3 quarterbacks going in the top 10. There are people that have no quarterbacks going in the top 15. Every NFL draft, we love to put these together because they're just fun to talk about and try to figure out what your team's going to do. I can't remember a year more than this year where I am absolutely clueless from the word go than I am in this draft. And I love it. It makes Thursday so exciting. All right. So Hutchinson 1, Walker 2, Houston Texans have the 3rd pick.
Yeah, and Houston's got to rebuild, and it just depends on where they want to go, who they want to take the very first pick. I am leaning one way. I've been back and forth over the whole thing. They need a corner. They need an edge rusher. They need a quarterback.
They need everything.
They need to go everywhere. So I'm going to lean another defensive player. So give me Mr. Thibodeau from Oregon. I think he is going to be that edge rusher for them in Houston.
All right. So that goes now to the New York Jets with their first pick. They have 2 picks in the top 10. What has Rich Eisen and myself been saying for weeks?
Sauce. Give him the sauce.
Give us the sauce, baby. I've stolen it from Rich Eisen from a few weeks ago. The more I look into it, the more I want it. Sauce Gardner, Ahmed Gardner, cornerback, Cincinnati. Never allowed a touchdown in college. You're in a league against Tyreek Hill now and Stephon Diggs and Devontae Parker, I think, is the number 1 wide receiver for the Patriots now after that trade.
Yeah.
You need a shutdown guy. You have 2 picks in the top 10. We need a wide receiver really bad. Will we get Debo? It's a pipe dream, but we'll address that in a few picks from now. If you go look at Gardner's Twitter page, he says he's the best player in this draft. I'm going to believe him too. Ahmed Gardner to the New York Jets.
Yeah, I think he's one of the top 5 defensive backs to play this year, and I think it's a good
top
it's
5.
a good
What
fit
are you talking
there.
about? The 1.
Top 5.
He is the best. He could be a top 5 quarterback of all time. He could be the next Darrelle Revis.
Oh, here we go. We're going to bring out Darrelle Revis again.
Welcome to Sauce Island, sir. All right, the 5th.
We're gonna go the other direction. Here we go.
Other
the
New York
pick.
team.
The other New York team, which we know has to. They've already said they're staying with Daniel Jones. I don't know how much of
why
that is going to be. Why is beyond me. But let's get him some protection. So we're going to put the best offensive lineman there. Let's put Evan Neal, the offensive lineman for Alabama. Just unbelievable. Moves well, quick feet. He's able to handle just about anybody. His upper body strength is unreal. So if they're going to keep Daniel Jones there, better get somebody that's going to protect him.
By the way, NFL Films music rocks. I just have to say. All right. Number 6 pick. I have the Carolina Panthers. By the way, I totally 100% agree with your pick. This one could go 100 different ways as well. Carolina's come out saying that they will not be trading for Baker Mayfield before the draft, which makes me feel like they want to see if they get a quarterback first. Do they take him here? Do they? I think honestly they would love to trade down and still get one of these quarterbacks because we have two spoilers. We have two quarterbacks going in our top 10. I just don't see it happening, but these teams really need them. And then the question is, which one do they take? I'm going to take Kenny Pickett from Pittsburgh to go with Carolina. I think it could go him or Willis or neither. We have definitely now hit this part of this draft where I'm just throwing stones at glass houses or something. I don't know what the phrase is, but I'm doing stuff I should not do. And let's go Kenny Pickett to Carolina. You, sir, once again have the New York Giants with the 7th pick.
I feel like I must be an honorary Giants fan and picking these things for Jimmy Maydall and all of them. And so you look at the needs of what the Giants have to have besides another they need an edge rusher. They also need, they have the offensive line there. They're going to take Neal. But I think they need some help on the corner. And they need to get the next best corner back there. So give me Mr. Stingley out of LSU. I think he is probably the best fit there. Derek Stingley, Jr., 6'1", 195, well-rounded player, can play in pass coverage and rush coverage. I think it's just a smart pick for the LSU boy to go to New York.
All right, I didn't hear a single thing you said. I was jamming out to that music. It was really good. All right, I get the Atlanta Falcons at number 8. Obviously, they traded Matt Ryan. Marcus Mariota, very cool for him to get now the starting spot in Atlanta. None of us think it's going to last. Maybe a 1-year stopgap. Still very happy for him to be able to get this position. But Atlanta is going to go quarterback. They are going to be happy that Pickett went to Carolina. They will take Malik Willis from Liberty with the number 8 pick.
Yeah, I think it's a good pick there. So, we've had a couple of quarterbacks in the top 10. It's not the strongest area, but I think he's one of the stronger ones there. So for the Seattle Seahawks, they were big sellers, got rid of Russell Wilson, picked up a few other people. I think they have to go offensive line here. They've been building for the last couple of years. And we're shocked when you and I did this the other day and we started talking about who is and how we let this guy slip this far. But put in Economu. I think the boy from NC State is a perfect fit there in Seattle. I don't know if he slides this far down to in 3 days, but if he does, Seattle needs to jump all over him.
Yeah, and honestly, he could with the edge rushers pushing up the draft boards as much as we have seen. Obviously, who knows what will happen on Thursday? But as far as all the mocks go, edge rushers are jumping up this board. When people jump up, others have to fall down, and it's going to go great for Seattle with Ekwonu. And talking to Rustin Greer the other day, as I was just asking different fans of different teams who they want as far as their draft goes, he said offensive line 100%. So I think this is the perfect fit. So we're going to end up this section. We're going to do these in 3 sections, spread things out a little bit. But the New York Jets have the 10th pick. And with the 10th pick, they trade for Deebo Samuel. Sorry, we don't do trades at this mock. So give me the top wide receiver on the board, which is debatable which one it is. But after you give me the sauce, I want the Wilson to Wilson connection. Give me the Ohio State boy, Garrett Wilson, wide receiver for the New York Jets. Either way, I don't care what the name is as long as the wide receiver in this spot.
Yeah, I think that's a good spot for him. Wilson is a speedy guy. He's got some wheels on him. I think it'd be a good fit there.
So there you go. Those are our first 10 picks of our NFL mock draft. Our final one, obviously, is 3 days from now. We will have the actual first round. And then next week I'm going to come out with my new mock draft, and I'm going to have all 32 correct. I'm going to have the trades nailed. It's going to be so good. But that's what we've been working on, is to get it perfected. And I guarantee you next week I will have it spot on. All right, let's move on to Major League Baseball. And first up, applauds to Miguel Cabrera. 3,000 hits. He does it Saturday. Was it the first game? It was a doubleheader Saturday because it got rained out Friday. First at bat on Saturday gets the 3,000. By the way, Denny Grubb says McDuffie for Seattle. Thoughts on that real quick?
We'll just leave it at this. He is in the next section, but he's not going to be a Seattle Seahawk. No.
Okay. All right. Thoughts on Miguel Cabrera?
All right. Listen, you and I have talked many times about what we think of this young man and what he means to Major League Baseball from the time he came out as an 18-year-old playing. I think he is first ballot Hall of Famer.
Oh, yeah.
He is one of, I'm trying to remember the stat I heard, one of just 3 people ever to hit 3,000 hits, 500 home runs, and have a batting average of over 300. And that is, I'm wanting to say, trying to remember, Ted Williams is one of those, and the other, no, I forget the 2 men, but he's one of 3. And I remember that. I forget who was on that
Hank
list.
Aaron and Willie Mays, but I'm going to double check that.
Yeah. So I love just following him and what he does for all the ball clubs and just everything. He is such a well-rounded player, well-liked by everybody. And hats off to him. You know, to be able to hit 3,000 hits is just an unbelievable mark in any MLB career. So
he's the 7th player with 500 home runs and 3,000 hits. Yep, Mays and Aaron. Okay, I had it right. Perfect. But yeah, absolutely fantastic. Obviously, we talked about it on last week's show, how we were both looking forward to it. Everything I've heard is Miguel Cabrera is one of the most liked players in the league. He and Beltre were 2 of my favorite players ever to watch that weren't New York Yankees, just because they love to have fun in the game, and it shows all the way through. So very, very happy. You were going to say something.
I want to say this, and it's not, and maybe it is taking a stab at it, and it's your favorite person in the whole wide world. How do you feel about Mr. Aaron Boone?
Oh God, I knew this was coming up. What do you think?
Do you feel?
What do you think?
In the comment, of him saying, well, he was getting even from him losing.
Stop it.
That is the comment that comes from him. He was getting.
It does not come from him. Listen. All right. Rant with Randy time. I was ready to do it for normal stuff. Anybody that reads stupid crap on the internet needs to understand what's a joke or not. That post that went around, which I got on Clint for posting.
I don't remember if it was Clint where I saw it.
Well, it's gone now because I made him point out at the very top of that post says, "This is satire, but funny." It is a fake quote. Never happened. There was no heated exchange between Aaron Boone and Miguel Cabrera. In fact, I have seen the clip of Miguel Cabrera laughing that his on-base percentage went up. When somebody asked if he was upset that he was intentionally walked, he goes, "No, my OBP went up." There was no heated exchange. That's the definition of fake news. And it just blew up everywhere. Also, it's a smart baseball play.
I think the best part about it is through all of this for me is listening to Miggy say it's not about him right now.
Yes,
and it's about the team winning and him getting the win, them getting the wins and getting to the postseason. Yeah, we're super early, but it's all about the team wins, and so I think that's what defines him of who he is character-wise.
On Wednesday, Miguel Cabrera hit 3 hits and was 1 hit away. Did not get it on his last at bat. But when asked what he thought about it, he said, "We lost."
Right.
He's very team oriented. He was very happy. He gave zero crap. Yes, I hate this topic because I got in so many arguments about it. So many people was like, well, the next guy got a single and scored 2 runs, so it was a bad decision. Guys at second and third, 2 outs. You walk Cabrera, you get your lefty-lefty matchup, which is exactly what the Yankees did. They induced weak contact, which is exactly what they wanted. It just somehow it ended up in left center in a bloop single. Scored 2 runs. Did not work out the way they wanted, but they were trying to get into the best situation possible. By the way, just late yesterday, exact same situation comes up in the Minnesota game. Runners at second, third. There's only 1 out, leading by 1 run. They do not walk Mr. Byron Buxton, and he crushes the home run. I walk Buxton all day, every day in that situation. You set up as many force outs as you possibly can. The only way I do not walk Mcgokaber is if Chapman's on the mound from earlier this year where he could not find the strike zone. You don't put that situation on a pitcher where you have to now throw strikes when you're struggling to find the strike zone. It was the smart play. It worked out beautifully. For those that are saying Aaron Boone was afraid for Mcgokaber to get his 3,000th hit against him, he gave him 4 chances. The last at bat on Wednesday and 3 at bats on Thursday. So stop it. It just drove me nuts. However, if you want to get on the Yankees for anything, it was what the fans did at Saturday's game?
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was Saturday. Yeah, because Sunday they ended up blowing them out. The fans on Saturday afternoon, 1,000% embarrassing. I will give applause to Judge and Stanton and some other Yankees that went right out there, stopped the celebration to go out and check on the Guardians players and to get the fans to knock it the hell off. But a player for the Guardians ran into the left field wall trying to get the final out of the game from IKF. I was unable to do so, ran into the wall really, really hard. Ended up being okay, but was definitely banged up on the play. Fans got into it with the other outfielders, which got one of them to climb the fence and jaw with him, it's not the best look, but I don't blame him. And then Torres comes up, hits the game-winning single to come from behind and get the victory. And as the ball is passing the center fielder, so is a beer bottle. It was just disgusting. And there's like 20 or 30 bottles that go out there. If you want to see more of it, John Boy has a fantastic video, like he always does, on the situation. So if you want to get on Yankees for anything, it's that situation, not the Mcgokaber situation.
Yeah, I'm seeing what happened there, and I stayed away from that one with you because I knew that was just ugly for what the. But hats off to what you look at Judge out there trying to get things calmed down, settled down, and I think that was a smart thing to do on his part. So hats off to that. How about the injury to the Baltimore Orioles? The Baltimore Orioles means, yeah. I had to change the notes a little bit just because Denny's listening. Yeah. Baltimore Orioles guy down, Mr. Means down for Tommy John surgery so early in the year. I feel bad.
Give full credit to Denny for having fun with it, saying now the Orioles don't have a chance.
I don't know. I feel bad for a team that has to put an injury that early in the season in, so I feel extremely bad there. How about the big news from yesterday? And I don't know if you got the same message I did from him.
Yep.
But I got a message on our social media accounts. Are we talking about Angel Hernandez? When does MLB finally say enough is enough with him? Does that happen or does it not?
No, it never does. The umpire union obviously is strong. I'm trying to remember who brought it up. Maybe it was John Boy again. He did a video on the Sunday Night Baseball game and the whole situation, which was great because Schwarber's reaction to that last bad call was absolutely fantastic. But he brought up an idea that not all umpires have to stay behind the plate. You could keep Angel Hernandez as an umpire, just put him at third base. Why does every umpire have to call balls and strikes? Not every NFL referee plays every single position of the referee crew.
Exactly.
Take the 15 best umpires at calling balls and strikes and let them be the home plate umpire, and then have crews from there. And you can switch them out here and there if you're trying to get other people some experience and stuff. But if you're really, really bad at calling balls and strikes, like Angel Hernandez is really, really bad at calling balls and strikes, don't put him back there. Now, again, this could be fake too, but Codify Baseball on Twitter, which is a stat-based company, tweeted out, and who knows if their numbers are correct, but over the last 7 years, according to their stats, and there's umpire stats all over the place now. There's websites dedicated to whether they get the calls right or wrong. In the last 7 years, according to Codify Baseball, how many balls and strikes do they have counted for Angel Hernandez to get wrong?
I would say probably close to 35%, maybe 40%.
No, that's way too much. If he was missing that much, he had a really terrible game. He missed a lot on Sunday. He only missed 12%.
Terrible Sunday.
He missed 12%. The average is 6% missed. I'm not saying percent. How many actual calls, not percentage, actual calls has he got wrong?
I would, during that game or for the year?
For 7 years.
For
the last 7 years. He missed 12 on a really bad game Sunday.
I would say
he's 16. He missed 16, by the way. Sorry.
I would say he's got to be in. You figure 12 calls per game. He's back there. I would say at least 250 times.
250 times in 7 years.
Yeah.
That's add a zero. Add a zero to that. 2,600 missed calls, according to Codify Baseball. And they said, "Oh, how I wish I was kidding," is part of the tweet. Again, I haven't done the full research on it. According to Codify Baseball, that's how many pitches he missed. Again, he missed 16 of them on Sunday. 16 of the 129 pitches he called incorrectly, according to the umpire website that tracks this stuff.
So you figure he's roughly maybe 40 games behind the dish every year, give or take. So say 35 behind the dish, 35. Yeah, I could see that 35 times, maybe an average of 15 per game, 12 per game. Yeah, it's
so bad. And we already did the worst umpires sports related draft. Yes, the facepalm. Danny Howard nails it. We already did the worst umpires one. Now I think that was before we started doing judges.
Yeah, but I won that one. Remember?
And we did. No, you didn't. You never won any of those before. But we had a comment on there. It's like, oh, these umpires are doing that. All of them, but Angel Hernandez and Joe Buck, I can get behind. Like Joe Buck's gone now. He is retired from baseball.
Joe West.
Joe West, not Joe Buck. My apologies. You get all the annoying Joes put together, and it gets messed up in my head. But it's an absolute disaster mess. All right, let's get into let's do scoreboard real quick because we haven't done the scoreboard just yet. Smaller slate today because it's a Monday, but already finished. Toronto defeats Boston 6-2. Boston's on a little bit of a slide. Also, San Francisco beat Milwaukee 4-2. That was a not a throwaway game, but just a rain delayed game that kind of got moved to a Monday, even though it's not really a series, but had a decent crowd for a random day game in Milwaukee between the two. Philadelphia is crushing Colorado now 8-2 in the bottom of the 8th. Scoreless between the Mets and the Cardinals in the 8th inning. Max Scherzer is in that game. Houston and Texas tied at 1 in the bottom of the 5th. Angels and Cleveland tied at 0. That one's just getting started. Dodgers have already put up 2 runs at the top of the 1st. There's still nobody out as they take on Arizona. Let me try to see how that run happened. Freddie Freeman Mookie Betts walked, Freddie Freeman doubled, Trey Turner doubled, them both in. That is how that game has started against Merrill Kelly. Not the best start at all. Did you see the Tampa Bay Boston game on Saturday?
I did not. Was I was out early to the casino to watch everything in the fights and all that, so I didn't get to see any of that one.
By the way, it's Miles Michaelis for St. Louis. He went 7 innings, struck out 5, walked 1, gave up 4 hits. He is now out of the game. Scherzer is still in there at the moment, but he's at 101 pitches, so I don't expect him to come in at the bottom of the 8th. He went 7 innings, 2 hits, 1 walk, 10 strikeouts in that 0-0 contest. But the Boston-Tampa Bay game was really interesting as Tampa Bay used, 6 pitchers to throw a no-hitter against the Boston Red Sox. Unfortunately, they had no runs. So then they had to play the 10th inning. And they got through the 10th inning with no hits. I believe. I might be mixing this up, but I believe they went one of the extra innings with no hits still.
Mm-hmm.
Then the 11th inning happened. They give up a triple and end up giving up 2 runs, but then come back and score enough to win the game. It was weird. No hitter all the way through 9 innings, and they couldn't get the job done. Then the extra inning rules happened, and it's a mess. But
what a mess.
Tampa Bay still gets the win, just not the no hitter. All right, let's get into our power rankings. I'll go ahead and go first. Get the sting out of your thing, because I know you were trying to be funny in our notes, and you left your number 5 spot blank. Because I knew what you were going to do. I will say I was back and forth between 3 teams for my number 5 spot. I think the top 4 teams I still put a little bit of a gap between everyone else. White Sox have started off horribly. They're 6-9. Injuries have just derailed the start of their season. I still expect them to win the AL Central, but I knocked them out of my top 5. So I needed a new 5th team. And it was honestly between the St. Louis Cardinals, my New York Yankees, and your Seattle Mariners. And I'm going to give it to your Seattle Mariners. They lost 1 game last week, and it was kind of fluky where they jumped out 5-0, and they blew the lead. They had that great game with Kansas City on Saturday where they scored 78 runs in a tie game in the 8th inning. Like, that game was extremely close forever. And then after 1 inning, they were like doubling them up. It was just gross. But pitching is doing extremely well. The bats are going there. There's a lot of young players right now that are getting into a groove. You're going to talk about one of them here shortly. But I hate to say it, but Seattle is off to that hot start that they need, especially with Houston not off to a great start. They're 7-8 on the season. So Seattle leading the division, 8 of their last 10. Yes, we're only 10% through the league, so we're not going to overreact right now for these games. But I like what they're seeing with the Mariners right now. Again, the top 4, you can almost put these in any order right now, just depending on how much you put emphasis on how the start of the season went. But I'm going to put Toronto at 4. Their pitching right now is not being as great as I was expecting, but they have the bats for sure. So I'll have them at 4. San Francisco continues just not go away. Again, they've already won again today. They're 12-5 now on the year. So I'll put them 3. But the Mets, with the additions that they had in the pitching staff, we see Scherzer right now throwing an absolute gem. They already have a 4-game lead in the division. We're 10% in. So I'll have them 2. And until the Dodgers really have a bad week, I don't know if I can ever take them out of my top spot.
Yeah, I 100% with you there. I have LA at the top again, but it's like you said. I mean, we're only the second full weekend. It's still a coin flip of where these top couple teams are at. The Dodgers, I do have up top. I'm going to keep San Francisco there just because they just don't want to go away. They're that team that we wondered about last year, and they proved us wrong. I do have Tampa Bay, Toronto just above New York. I think the bats and what Vlad's doing there is just unbelievable. And so that'll put the Mets in the number 4 hole. And yes, I did leave it blank because I was up in the air with that one too. But, Seattle winning 7 out of their last 9, and it was time to put them there. But I'm afraid to put him there because how long is it going to last? And that's
Yeah,
how they
for
started
sure.
last year. I had them, and you kept telling me, well, how come you have them so high? How come you have them so high? And then all of a sudden they backed themselves back down. Houston not playing up to their capabilities right now. Could it be that the Correa thing is with them moving on? Could that have been enough to start shifting them down? So
Mm-hmm.
it will be interesting there.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
go
yeah,
ahead.
no,
I,
I was
I
just
I I was just gonna say that. Yeah, I mean, obviously we're so very early on in the year, but there's so many jumbled messes right now as far as so many. We talked about it in our season preview that it's as much as I hate them adding the extra playoff team, this is the perfect year to do it because I don't know. I honestly don't know top tier teams. I think the NL is top heavy. There's some really crappy teams in there. Cincinnati. Um, but like I think the Mets, Atlanta, the Dodgers, Milwaukee probably are a bit above everyone else. And then you have a decent middle tier and then some junk. The AL, you could tell me 10 different teams as far as somebody that you think would be in the top 3 in the American League, and I would believe you. Or
and
you
I
or
think
you would have a strong argument.
yeah, and I think the team just over the last week that has shocked me a little bit happens to be Chicago. Both of us were really high on them, and
Mhm.
they're sitting 6-9 right now, behind Minnesota, behind Cleveland. But
Yeah. Well, I mean,
when you
they've
have
lost 7 in a row, and they've had some wild injuries. They had the walk off against Buxton the other day too. But
And I was to say, when you have a player like Buxton that is playing just lights out baseball right now for
mhm.
Minnesota, it's just, I think now that might be the tougher division. I think that one might be a little bit of a jumbled mess if here in about 4 or 5 weeks.
If Chicago can't get healthy and they can't right the ship, it would not surprise me if Chicago has that down year that they're having at the moment. I don't expect it to. But say they do, I could see all 5 of those teams finishing with between 85 and 75 wins,
Hmm.
all being within 10 games of each other. All 5 teams. But we'll see. Our bottom 3, I believe my bottom 3 are the same. I just flipped 2. Cincinnati's still dead last for me. They're 30, 29, and 28. It's the Cincinnati Reds. They're just all of them. But I had to pick 2 other teams, and I will bump the Baltimore Orioles 1 spot, which Denny Grubb did. I don't know if you saw his message.
I
He
was trying
gave
to
a.
I
By the
was
way,
trying to add
Denny.
it, and I couldn't
Yeah,
get it to add to our page, so I don't know if he took it away.
Denny. I know you are listening as you just made the comment. I didn't see his top 10. Did you see his top 10?
No,
I
he did
had
not list his
11.
top 10.
He gave me 11 through 30. What is your top 10, Denny?
Well,
We need Orioles, man.
I was
But
trying to put it on our page and it said to accept it, to put his comment on there. And I never did find it, but you and I both able to see it
mhm,
and the first thing he said, Baltimore's out of the bottom of the thing.
only
Oh,
only bottom 5 count. So yeah, Baltimore 28 for me. Arizona is 29. So still the same 3 bottom teams. I just flipped those 2.
listen, I'm going to be nice to you, Denny. I don't even have Baltimore in the bottom 3 anymore. Yes, they're still in the bottom 5, but not the bottom 3. Cincinnati again, 3-9 on the season. Just can't get anything. They traded everybody out. See you later. Here you go.
Mhm.
And Seattle is reaping the benefits of that right now. Also, I'm going to put Washington. That's my other team dinner. I like that. And Randy owes me lunch too.
I
Maybe
do.
that maybe we need to just have a pre NAIA luncheon between the 3 of us. We'll have to figure
I'm
that
down.
out. So I have Washington 29, and then I have Arizona in the 28th spot.
All right, so those are our power rankings for this week. Again, no full power rankings as we are both pretty busy. Let's get to our player of the week, and you nailed it. Your pick, I can't argue with, but the closest I can come to arguing is Byron Buxton, who did almost exactly the same stuff as your guy did in half the time because he was coming off a bit of an injury.
Mhm.
Red hot after that. 7 of 13, averaging 538, 3 home runs, 7 RBIs, 7 runs in just 3 games played for Mr. Byron Buxton. My sleeper MVP pick that we did a couple weeks before the season started. I was not brave enough to pick him as my MVP though, but fantastic start for him. Had that big bomb as to walk off on Sunday against the White Sox. So Buxton is my player of the week, but you, sir, you can't argue your player of the week.
No, and he had what a great series against Kansas City, and that's got to be Ty France. Huge numbers for the second baseman for Seattle, batting 500, 3 home runs, 10 RBIs. I think that's the big number for Ty France, generating some big RBIs in clutch moments there. Only 2 walks out of his 28 plate appearances, so unbelievable. Only striking out twice. But an OPS of 1.437, unbelievable numbers, and I think he's with Kelnick, and if both of those guys can really start producing quite well, I think Seattle has got a chance to stay in there and sneak into one of those wild card positions. Though, honorable mention, and we said it a few minutes ago, but you have to be thinking about Mcgokaber there, 3,000 this last week. So hats off to him.
Absolutely. Just real quick, series to watch. Robert says to watch the Mets and Cardinals. This first game sounds like it's fantastic if you like pitching. That is Monday, a Wednesday series. I'm going to give you the Houston Astros and the Toronto Blue Jays Friday through Sunday. They've already played before this year, but this weekend does not have that many just top tier series. It's one of those weeks. All right, let's get into some LCSC news. And Robert, with Denny Grubb being here, do you want to challenge him?
Why would I ever want to challenge the?
I just want to challenge. I want to challenge his speed. I want to see how fast he is.
Okay,
you want to do that? Let's have a little bit of fun. We have fun here. LCSC baseball swept Oregon Tech, won 6-3, 2-1, 8-2, and then 6-4 in 10 innings. They have now locked up the regular season Cascade Conference title for the second straight year, both years that they've been part of the conference. But the big thing, Sam Linscott in that 4th game became the 5th Warrior to hit for the cycle. I know Denny knows this. I just want to see how fast he will post it on here. I want the 4 other players to hit a cycle for the LCSC Warriors. Again, I know Denny knows this, and I know Denny is going to shock us with how fast he is about getting it to us, with me just dropping it on him on a show that he's not even a part of. I'm challenging Denny Grubb right now. See how fast he is. But Sam Linscott hit a go-ahead 2-run home run in the 10th inning to get that cycle and basically give the Warriors that 6-4 win. Also, shout out to hometown boys Riley Way and AJ Davis. They're now 1st and 2nd in both singles and double plays turned in LCSC history, and they're already coming in. I love it. Denny Grubb already with 1. Lico Perea in 1995, and we'll get the rest as he types them in. I told you, he is so fast and so good at this. Let's see. Regular season finale for the Warriors baseball team this weekend against Bushnell. Doubleheader Saturday, 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. Sunday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Then the Cascade Conference locked in at Harris Field, May 9th through the 11th. The NAIA opening round also at Harris Field, May 16th through the 19th. And, of course, the NAIA World Series, May 27th through June 3rd, as Nate Vopada in 1990. 2 of them in 1995. That's interesting as well. Thoughts on the baseball weekend?
Yeah, it's just unbelievable what this team is doing. I just hope that they can keep things going mentally, stay mentally ready to do this, as they've got to play themselves into the World Series this year. So we should be hosting, and I believe with the win this weekend, we will host, and I'll be gone. So unfortunately, I'll be listening on the radio over the next couple of days, and then we'll get back in time for first round action. But what a great group of guys, just to watch their demeanor out on the field in between games, and just unbelievable. It's just they have that feel of a brotherhood this year, and nobody outshines anybody. They're playing for each other, and I think that's what's cool.
as you said, it's always somebody different. And look at Denny giving me pronunciation guides as well. Joey Dyke in 2005, also the only player ever in an NAI World Series. And then Tyler McDowell, 2018. I told you, Denny's quick. That was within 4 minutes, maybe 3 minutes.
Well, he's only got
with a delay, with him having to type it all out, and with me just showing it on him. 3-4 minutes. Yeah. Even better. He adds one more. No LCSE opponent has ever hit for the cycle. Denny Grubb, legend, Hall of Famer. The dude's just awesome. And he's a good dude, too, which is on top of it, which, I mean, he's a Baltimore Oriole fan. So everyone has to have their flaws. That's Denny Grubb's flaw. As far as more LCSC sports go, men's tennis finished their season with a full sweep against Bellevue Community College. Again, that did not count for team stats, but every single match LC took. For the women's side, they won 6 of 7 matches against Highland College and then swept Bellevue Community College. Neither of those two did count for team records. They're still 7-7, but they will have their season finale at Whitman on Friday. LCSC Golf is currently in the middle of the Cascade Conference Championships. I was trying to look at the site earlier, but it's still saying people are playing or something. But then when you click on the stats, they're not. So I don't know. But the last I saw, it looked like LC was tied for the lead on the men's side. And I believe the women are in 3rd or 4th. But there's one team that I'm blanking on right now, British Columbia, who is just crushing the field right now. But LC has a good chance to finish 2nd there on the women's side. Men are in a dogfight. According to the website you can find linked on lcwarriors.com, it was just in a weird state. But they go today and tomorrow, so we'll have full updates for you next week. Track and field were very kind to us.
I think this is the first time all year that they have been kind to us.
But it's only because it was the Cascade Conference Track and Field Multi-Event Championship, so not a ton of participants there. Shout out to Christian Bothwell. He finished with a score of 6,199 in the decathlon. It's the 2nd most in LCSE history. He finished 3rd in the event, and it also puts him in the nation's top 10. So congratulations to him. Caleb Moore finished 7th. Ian Gardam finished 8th. On the women's side, Jenna Carpenter finished 8th. Sarah Hathaway finished 11th. And Michaela McIntosh finishes 14th. There'll be select warriors in action at the OSU High Performance Meet in Corvallis on Friday and Saturday. Then I believe they have one more meet, and then the big tournaments really get underway. Real quick before we get into it, because once again, we're behind schedule, and that's why it's always fun to create a show schedule and just watch it burn in front of our eyes. But you are listening to the R&R Sports Report right here on the R&R Sports Report Facebook and YouTube pages. Because of schedule changes, we're not on KLCZ. We'll be back next week. Don't forget, this is episode 80. We've made 80 of these things, and for some reason, nobody has banned us from the internet yet. And we're also just 20 Facebook followers away from pain. From the poll to go up, to make one of us go and train at the Arnett Center. What's it called? I name it differently every week. You're muted.
It is Martial Arts of America, and it's Arnett's Martial Arts of America. So
there you go. So 20 Facebook followers away from one of us having to go do a training session up there. So if you know anybody that is yet to follow the R&R Sports Report, and we have said mean things to you, Denny Grubb, this is your chance to get payback. I'm just saying. I will have Robert Hagan take pain for me to get Facebook followers. That's how it works.
That's how it's kind of how it sounds like. Is we were talking, Brian's ready for one of us to come up there, and Jared's the same way. And the latest of our followers are coming from the MMA, and so it is just crazy. Looking forward to doing that. Before we move on into our little bit of NBA we want to stick around here for just a second with the LCSC stuff. Yeah. Don't forget that we are doing the naming of the activity center as the big ceremony happens on Saturday, just prior to the baseball game. So make sure you're over there at LCSC for the P1FCU naming of the activity center.
There you go. Let's get into the NBA playoffs. Huge breakdown. We're going to break down. No, we're not. Screw the NBA. I can't stand it. Can't do it. Don't care. Brooklyn's out. That's all I know. Number 1 seed Miami leads Atlanta 3-1. Their game 5 is tomorrow. Again, Boston just eliminated Brooklyn. It's the only sweep in the first round. But the Nets lose today 116 to 112. Let's see. Milwaukee leads Chicago, the 3 seed over the 6 seed, 3-1. Their game 5 is on Wednesday. Number 4 seed Philadelphia leads number 5 seed Toronto 3-1. Elimination game, and is on NBA TV. It's just pathetic. But Toronto is leading the 76ers 87-76, trying to stay alive there. On the Western Conference, much better series in this one. But going on right now, the 4 seed Dallas and the 5 seed Utah Jazz tied at 2. Their game 5 just started. Dallas with a early 18-14 lead in the first quarter. Nuggets held off elimination yesterday, but the Warriors still lead them 3-1 in the series. Their game 5 is on Wednesday. And then tomorrow you get game 5s of 2 series that are tied right now. Number 1 seed Phoenix taking on New Orleans, and the 2 seed Memphis against the number 7 seed Minnesota. That is far too much time for us to spend on the NBA. So let's move on.
Sounds like a winner to me.
Yes. Let's move on to the next 10 picks of our NFL mock, sir. And let's try to speed it up maybe a little bit.
All right.
Pick number 11, Washington. It's you.
The Commanders, I think they've got to get a weapon. So for me, I think the best weapon that's out there is a receiver. How about you take the USC boy?
Yep.
Put Drake London in there.
Yeah, it's a great pick. Possibly going to the Jets as well at that 10th pick we talked about 7 hours ago, it feels like. But much taller, a much different build of a receiver. I think that'd go well with Washington. I have the 12th pick. It's the Minnesota Vikings. Give me a defender. Give me Kyle Hamilton, the first safety to go off the board from Notre Dame. A lot of people think he might go in the top 5, but they're a little worried that safeties usually don't go that high. So he falls to the Vikings at 12. 13 with Houston.
No, Houston's, we talked about it earlier. They're rebuilding everywhere. And so here you go, Denny Grubb. This is where your Washington Husky goes. Trent McDuffie will be a Houston Texan at pick number 13.
All right, I have your Baltimore Ravens at the 14th pick. You were trying to trade me on the pick. Did not happen. However, I did get a thumbs up when I made the pick. So
I tried to trade down, but you and I took it. Yep.
It worked out good. Give the Baltimore Ravens Jermaine Johnson II, edge rusher from Florida State. I will not be shocked in the slightest if Johnson is gone 8 picks from before this. On so many mocks, he is flying up these mock drafts, but we will have him there at 14. You got the Philadelphia Eagles at 15.
Yeah, they're looking for a receiver. I think they've got to go the other side of the Ohio State side. So give me Chris Olave. I think he is going to be a great spot for Jalen Hurts to throw. So I think that's a good fit there.
What did you say his name was?
Olave or Olave.
I thought you said Olive for a second.
Oh, God.
I missed it. All right, let's go. New Orleans Saints with the 16th pick. How about Charles Cross, offensive lineman, Mississippi State. 17 pick, Chargers.
They have to get some protection for the quarterback there. So give me Zion Johnson from Mississippi State. Big boy there at Mississippi State.
And a couple offensive linemen going off the board. Philadelphia Eagles have the 18th pick. You already gave them a wide receiver. So let's go on the defensive side. Give him one of the better linebackers that are in this draft. Give him Devin Lloyd out of Utah. So I gave the Saints Charles Cross. It is now your turn to pick the Saints' second pick at 19.
So you and I have talked. We've been back and forth whether or not how weak this class is. I gotta put him in there. I'm
You
doing
can't
it
help yourself.
finally. I can't help myself. I like this guy. I think he's going to be a decent quarterback in the NFL. Put Desmond Ridder from Cincinnati in there, one of the Bearcats. He's going to be a quarterback for the New Orleans Saints.
While it would not surprise me, I just don't see this many quarterbacks going. However, with Pittsburgh Steelers number 20, you give him Matt Corral, quarterback out of Ole Miss, because we can't help ourselves. Taking, well, I'll just stop the music now, but they can't help themselves from taking quarterbacks, and they really, really need one. So Matt Corral going to Pittsburgh at 20. We will finish the mock draft later on in the show, but there's a reason why we're doing the show on a Monday, not a Tuesday. And that is the local high school schedule on Tuesday. I'm going to read this off, and then you're going to have to do the results because I'm going to. This is our track and field event. All right, but
Okay.
if you are anywhere near the area and you want to go check out high school baseball, softball, tennis, track, whatever, this is where you go. And I'm going to try to do it as quickly as possible. Let's start with golf. If you want to watch some golf, Asotin takes on Colville at 10 a.m. Clarkson and Pullman play in a GSL event at the Palouse Ridge course at 12:30. Track and field, you have three different meets. One's happening in Clarkston. It's the Northeast 2B Southern League meet. You also have a Prairie meet at 3:30, and you also have Genesee is at a Wallace Small School meet at 3:30 as well. High school boys soccer, Clarkston takes on Pullman at 4. Clarkston soccer has not had the best of years so far.
Playing shorthanded a lot. Only 9 guys playing.
Grades have been an issue for sure. On the tennis side, let's see. So Pullman and Rogers play. The Pullman girls will be the home team. Pullman boys head up to Rogers. Clarkston boys are at home against Shadle Park while the girls head up there. And then on the Idaho side, we do it correctly. And just both the boys and girls play in the same spot. But Cul-de-sac will take on Orfino. High school softball, Lakeland has a doubleheader at Lewiston. Sandpoint has a doubleheader at Moscow. Both of those start at 2. Clarkson heads to Rogers at 4. Shadle Park at Pullman at 4. Troy at Lapway also at 4 o'clock. Garpal will play a doubleheader against Potlatch. It says the first game's at 5. That seems late for a doubleheader. Tico Rosalia has a doubleheader against Pomeroy starting at 3. And Genesee at Kendrick at 4:30. And then on the baseball side, oh man. Okay, so you have a doubleheader, Moscow at Sandpoint. Doubleheader. Yes, I got it right here. The Sal's will take on Pomeroy in a doubleheader starting at 2 p.m. Richie's boy will be there for sure. Lewiston goes up to Lakeland for a big doubleheader. Clarkson at Rogers in a one-game play. What the heck? What? No doubleheader there? What the heck? Just not there. Same with Shadle Park at Pullman. That's at 4 o'clock. Kendrick versus Lapway in a doubleheader at Clearwater Park in Lewiston. Potlatch at Troy in a doubleheader starting at 4. Clearwater Valley at Timberline in a doubleheader starting at 3. Davenport at Asotin in a doubleheader also starting at 3 o'clock. So there you go. That is all of the games that are taking place in high school sports tomorrow, which means I have to go to work early, which is why we're doing the show tonight.
Yeah, a couple things, and that's the thing with Asotin. Asotin doesn't schedule any of the games during Fair Week, so they are playing 3 big games. To touch a little bit on what Paul said about soccer, Clarkson soccer playing shorthanded, not just because of grades, but only 9 players on the team total. And so numbers for Clarkson soccer are down. So lots of things going on. Let's recap the scores from this past week in baseball on the Lewiston side. They end up splitting with Lake City 9-3, and then end up winning 6-5. They took on Sandpoint on Saturday, winning both of those games 4-1 and 9-6. Currently, they are sitting at the top of the IEL 5A division and scoring nearly 9 runs a game. Got a 1-game lead over Coeur d'Alene, who are 6-4. You look to Clarkson, they lost to Shadle Park last Tuesday as that game was finishing up about the time we started, so we didn't get any numbers on that. They do travel up to East Valley, lost to East Valley 12-8 and 5-3. The Bantams struggling this year. They are currently 3-8 and 2-6, but they are still sitting in second place to the West Valley, who they will be taking and playing on Saturday in a doubleheader.
Let you continue for 1 second. Paul, are you going to stick around for about 15, 20 minutes? Do you want to be a sports-related draft judge this week? Okay, go ahead.
We take a look at Asotin. Like I said, no games this past week just because of Asotin County Fair. So they do a little bit of that. So they have 3 games this week. They've got Grangeville tonight. They also have, like you said, Davenport tomorrow and Reardon then on Saturday. You turn our attention to the softball side. Lewiston softball program is just crushing people. Barney has come out, thrown another no-hitter. Right now, they are third at 7-3 behind Coeur d'Alene, who is 8-2 in league after crushing Sandpoint 25-0 and 6-0 on Saturday. Also, Clarkson gets blanked out by Shadle Park last Tuesday, 18-0, and then ended up losing both games, really short-handed because of fair stuff. National DECA, who we didn't send a shout out. Good luck to the Clarkson DECA folks. They are down in Atlanta right now participating. They went down Thursday, have been participating all week. So a shout out to the DECA program. They ended up losing both games to Pullman, 15-4 and 22-21. Sounds like a football score.
That 22-21 game, I took that box score for the paper. Absolute nutty. They were down by 7 runs going into the bottom of the 5th inning, whatever the last inning is for softball, 5th or 6th. They were 6. What did I just say? Yeah, there were 7 runs down. First 6 batters for Clarkson reached base and scored. They were down by 1, and then the next 3 got up.
Yeah, they're just crazy to see. I had a chance to talk to the JV coach. They were playing with JV players up this week, so very cool. Again, Soton, no games this week. They've got a busy week this week. They also have the doubleheader, like you said, tomorrow. They also have a doubleheader on Saturday and a single on Tuesday next week. Oh, my Lord.
I'm sorry, Paul. I do not think an Eastern Washington player will go 7. Why 7?
I don't know. I think Eric Berrier goes, but it'll be very, very late. Let's turn our attention to high school tennis. Again, you did mention a few minutes ago, Clarkson High School girls lose to Pullman 7-0 this past week, and also the boys lose 7-0.
The Pullman team's really good.
And they are very good. Lewiston High School comes away with a big defeat of Coeur d'Alene.
I misread it. 7th round pick, not 7th pick. Okay.
And again, we did talk about high school soccer. CHS still looking for their first win. They get beat badly, 21-0 over East Valley this last week.
Not to rub it in. I mean, bad seasons happen. East Valley had 45 shots.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot in an 80-minute game.
Yeah, that's a ton of game. And I have not had a chance to chat with Tori's stepbrother who plays for Clarkson, and he was the only one that scored a goal last week in the 14-1 game, and Keaton playing his heart out. He hats off to the guys, but it's a tough thing playing that shorthanded.
How's Trey Lance doing? He's still the backup quarterback for San Francisco, to be fair. All right, let's get into our sports-related draft. Really quickly, Robert, have you made the picture for this yet?
I have not made the picture for this yet.
Okay,
I will probably be working on it
I'm changing my last pick.
No, you can't do that.
I did. You haven't made the thing yet. I meant to watch said movie and did not, so I'm changing it. So.
Listen, I even told you when you did this, I have only seen maybe one.
There are,
and we'll get to that here in a minute.
Far less of these than I expect. All right, so Paul, you're perfect for this, as I know you watch some good movies, some bad movies probably too. But we just finished up the sports movie draft on Eric's show, Point of Viewer. By the way, if you want to go check that out, it's on W2M Network. Parental advisory on that show for
Yep.
sure. But just, I want your top 4 real quick. I mean, I know we're already behind our schedule, but it's very interesting to me where they ended up. So anybody that's not listened at all, we had a football bracket, a basketball bracket, a baseball bracket, and a miscellaneous bracket. Okay. Give me, what's your favorite football movie?
Hands down, it's Rudy. And I'm still upset because
I
watched that.
Round.
It got knocked out in the first round to Waterboy. I love both
horrible.
of those movies. I love both of those, but I gotta blame the guy that seeded that bracket. Whoever seeded that bracket had it wrong. Yes, I'm pointing at you. Yes,
I set up seeds based on really good matchups. It was 2 underdogs. Waterboy's an underdog. Rudy's an underdog. Waterboy was actually a play-in game to play radio because that's another underdog story. Yeah. I had more fun creating first round matchups. Seeding is optional. Like there's numbers next to these movies, but I just wanted really cool first round matchups. Just as an example, I put Major League versus a league of their own just because they said league. I put Coach Carter against Eddie just because they were both coaches. I had fun with it. All right, so you have Rudy as your best football movie. How about your basketball movie?
I'm between 2, but I have to go Gene Hackman. I really do. Give me Hoosiers.
Hoosiers got knocked out in the Sweet 16.
Yep.
Also, it would be mine, but they got knocked out in the Sweet 16. How about baseball movie?
There's so many baseball movies that I could have done. I could have done Major League. I could have done a lot of them, but Kevin Costner, by far, Field of Dreams.
Still think that's an overrated movie, but it did make the Final Four. It ended up being their best baseball movie as well. And then in the miscellaneous bracket, this is everything. Anything but those 3 sports.
See, and I think the one that I would have to probably lean a little bit more funny, haha, and I would have to go Happy Gilmore probably.
Okay, and your favorite movie of all time?
Out of all of those, I'm going to say Rudy. I love Rudy. It's one of my favorites. When it comes on TV, I watch it. When it isn't on TV, I have the DVD. I watch it. Mm-hmm. So
their Final Four was Happy Gilmore and Field of Dreams. So you're happy there. Their best football movie was Any Given Sunday. And I still don't know how this happened. I'm still shocked by it. I love this movie, but best basketball movie they picked.
They're probably going to say White Men Can't Jump, aren't they?
Sadly, that got eliminated in the Sweet 16 as well. Or no, in the second round. They got knocked out in the second round because it went up against Space Jam. But Eddie. Eddie is the best basketball movie according to those 3 clowns. But I love the movie. It's great. But anyways, Happy Gilmore ended up being their best sports movie of all time, beating out Any Given Sunday. All right.
And
so
I would remember the Titans in that group too. So I mean that one was a tough one too.
Yes. So I say that because that's the reasoning why I did the draft this week. So hockey's regular season ends this week. I already updated us on you beating me by 1 game on the basketball side where we picked our top 5s. Hockey right now, I just updated the stats while we were going on. I have you beat by, 23 points. So I think I should hold on. I'm at 514 points. You're at 491. And that's even with the Seattle Kraken only giving me 58 points the whole year. But the other 4 all got me over 100. Islanders kind of struggled for you. So with a week to go, I'm holding on. So I combined it. Hockey's ending. Let's do our favorite hockey movies. And 4 of them had made the big board for the draft that I did with them. So you get the first pick, and Paul, you are our judge, and you get to let us know who wins this draft. So take it away, sir.
All right. So I told you when you put it out there, I said, this is going to be tough. I said, it's going to be hard because I don't watch a lot of hockey movies, and I never picked one. The only 2 were the ones that I picked. Well, the one that I knew of, and it was just because it was just made a few years back, and that's Miracle, just because of Miracle on Ice, and so I went more historical with my first pick, and I think that's why. So
Miracle did make the bracket. It made it to the second round. I put all the hockey movies together. I am going. Oh, so there you go. Paul's already saying Miracle, so I'm in trouble. But so that is your first pick is Miracle. My first pick in our hockey movie draft is the movie that the three guys on Eric's show also picked as the best hockey movie. That is the Mighty Ducks. Just three words for you, sir. Quack, quack,
Quack.
quack. Yeah, it's such a great movie. I even just watched it recently. I'm taking a screenwriting class. Not that I'm any good at writing, but it's been interesting to learn how to create a screenplay. And I have to write 25 pages of a screenplay, and I'm kind of doing a bowling version of the Mighty Ducks. Is the way I'm trying to put it together.
Mm-hmm.
And I went back and have recently watched Mighty Ducks. And it still holds up. It's so good. So Mighty Ducks is my first pick.
Yeah, and that's a good one. That was the only other movie I really watched. So I had to let the internet help me out a little bit with the next couple, and I have to do one of my top 5 favorite actors of all time, and pull out for my second pick. I'm gonna pull out Slapshot, Paul Newman, one of my favorite actors of all time. Just to see the picture of him all bloodied up, I think tells you how much they had fun playing in that one. So yeah, give me Slapshot. That's the round 2 one.
Yeah, I'm with you. I had to go back and do some research on some movies I've not seen. I've not seen this movie, but it does have an 81% on Rotten Tomatoes for a sports movie. It's not terrible out of the 106 reviews. So give me The Goon with Sean William Scott. I don't know anything about it. I just know Sean William Scott was in American Pie, and apparently it's not a terrible movie. So give me that. Those were the 4 movies, by the way, that made the sports movie draft that I did for Eric's show. So I am taking Goon with my second pick. How about your last pick, sir?
Well, for me in the last pick, I kind of went with something just because I looked at it, and it was a newer movie about a Canadian hockey player making it to the thing. So give me the Rocket, Maurice the Rocket Richard. So it was I mean, I had stretch on this one. That was one I thought about going with your other one that you just changed, but I went back and forth. And I'm more of a history buff, and so I thought I'm gonna stay history with doing pretty much all 3 of them.
Yeah, I had a different movie in here as well. One I'd never even heard of before we did this draft, and I had meant to look it up and watch it after we had put in our selections the other night and just hadn't got around to it. So I switched it to one I know, Mighty Ducks 2. Some people might even say this is better than the first one. I don't think it is. But what do you do when you win the local hockey tournament? You go win the world hockey tournament, apparently. And that's where you get the knuckle puck, which is a great one. And you get the Bash Brothers. You get the Bash Brothers in Slapshot. We get the Bash Brothers here for Mighty Ducks 2 and more of a kid-friendly version. So why not go with that? All right, so there you go, Paul. Let us know who won. So Robert's 3 hockey movies are Miracle, Slapshot, and The Rocket. My 3 movies are The Mighty Ducks, Goon, and The Mighty Ducks 2. So we will await Paul's answer. Yep.
Wasn't it D2, The Mighty Ducks 2? Wasn't that the correct title? Yeah.
Probably. Who knows?
Now, listen,
like video games, titles are weird sometimes.
Exactly. Now, Randy won last week with the best music entrance. So you have 10 wins on the season.
Yes.
I have 5. You went on a 5-game win streak. So
I had 5 in there straight.
Paul's going to give me back on the road for another win as we have went back and forth. Again, Denny Grubb on the list. He won a few weeks ago.
I still have not figured out how Denny Grubb, in a battle between Robert and Randy, Denny Grubb has a victory of all things, but not as many victories as you. But if we get Denny Grubb to be a guest host a few more times, he might catch up to you.
So we got to think about that. Maybe he joins you at the studio in 2 weeks when I'm gone. I'll drop in, make an appearance on the 11th.
I'm not liking my chances here.
I love it already. I think I know where Paul's going.
Not seen the goon either, so it's not going well. While we wait for him, just real quick, because we're going to finish off our NFL mock draft once we get the win conference play. Just a reminder, there it is. Robert gets the win. Not surprising. I was, as we got into it, I was like, oh man, this is brutal.
It's because I took Paul Newman, Paul Dazenbrock. There we go. It's the Paulie connection.
Horrible reason to win. But don't forget, in 3 days, we will be doing our live reactions and a watch along. Conference play in 2 weeks for LC. What? I'm lost, I guess. We'll be doing our watch along with Harry Broadhurst and Eric Watkins for the first round of the NFL draft. You can watch it right here on the R&R Sports Report Facebook and YouTube pages. And I think we're going to also be going live on W2M. We're going to have fun for well over 4 hours, try to give you as much insight as we have collected and talk about our teams. It's going to be really fun. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I got you. The conference tournament, Monday and Tuesday. Home games.
So that might throw a little wrench into the Tuesday night thing. That might be a Wednesday night thing. Who knows?
Yeah, with the World Series coming up, May is going to be like February. The shows go when sports allow us to get in. But now I see what you guys were talking about. Yeah. And actually I might not even be able to do those games because Lewiston has their regionals that same week.
Yeah, and that I will be wrapping up my national adventure, so I will be in Las Vegas that time.
Yeah, we'll see. Again, May, up in the air. We'll have shows when we're able to get it to you, and we appreciate everybody bouncing around with us as life just takes us everywhere. But let's finish up this mock draft. And I believe it is your pick. Let me start the music back up. There you go. 21st pick, the New England Patriots select.
They are going to take an edge rusher. They need an edge rusher. Give me the guy from Michigan, David Ojabo. I think that's how you say it.
Ojabo.
Ojabo.
You added a D in
there.
I
added a D.
He does play on defense, but there's no D in his last name. All right, that gives me the Green Bay Packers with the 22nd pick. And they got to take wide receiver. I mean, that's no surprise. Jameson Williams might not play the beginning of this year coming off the ACL tear, but he might be the best talented wide receiver in this draft. So he's going to Green Bay.
Does Haley approve of this pick for the Green Bay Packers? That's my question. So, Haley, I know you're listening. You like to listen with us. So, let me know.
She did not cuss at me when I said it. So, that's good.
And so, pick 23, you got to go for Arizona. They need to get some protection for Kyler Murray. I'm throwing it out there. It's supposed to be DL. They need some defensive guys. So, give me Devontae Wyatt, the Georgia Bulldog. He is a unbelievable big man, can move around. I think he's like 310 or something like that weight wise, and can move on his feet. So
a little bit.
I think he would be a great fit in there for Arizona.
All right, let's go to the Dallas Cowboys. They have the 24th pick. And another guy that could go earlier than this, might drop to the second round. It's very interesting the way you see him in different mock drafts. But George Karlaftis, we're going to get that name figured out at some point. But edge rusher for Purdue. He is now a Cowboy. Congratulations to George for having to wear a star on your head.
I think we let Eric announce this name when it comes up in the draft.
He's announcing all the names.
Oh, well, there you go. He's going to be doing that. So I'm okay with that. So I like that.
You have the 25th pick, Buffalo.
Pick 25 for the Buffalo Bills. They need to get some help in the defensive backfield. So give me the number one guy out of Clemson. Give me Andrew Booth Jr.
All right, that gives me Tennessee. I think they need a wide receiver as well. George Pickens is another guy that's been moving up the draft boards. I mean, he looked like he might have been a third-round pick for a little bit. I'm going to put him here at the end of the first round. Wide receiver out of Georgia is now a Titan. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the 27th pick, are on the clock.
They need a linebacker. Also, another Georgia Bulldog, another SEC guy going. Mcgokaber Dean is going to be their pick at 27.
So pick number 28 goes to the Green Bay Packers. Already gave them the wide receiver, so give him a tackle. He's actually a guy that I kind of hope drops to one of the Jets picks in the second round. But Bernard Raymond, Central Michigan tackle, will go to Green Bay.
For pick 29, Kansas City has back-to-back picks here. I think they go receiver first. They've got to get a replacement for Tyreek Hill. Let's go with the Western Michigan kid, Sky Moore.
All right. You take one Kansas City pick. I take the other. Kansas City with the 30th pick. I'm only taking this because our friend of the show, Kansas City fan Robert Taylor, told me this name. Safety Lewis Sine from Georgia will go number 30. So your last pick in our mock draft goes to the Cincinnati Bengals at pick 31.
Yeah, they need some help on the offensive line, and it's finally going to happen for the Iowa kid. Tyler Linderbaum is a number 31 pick.
There you go. And the last pick in the first round, Detroit Lions will select Kaiir Elam, cornerback out of Florida. So that is our mock draft. The Central Michigan kid drops to 40. That's a long ways to go for Raymond to go. Again, if he drops to the Jets 2 picks, I think he's going to go there. And Paul, we already gave you an offensive lineman in our mock, sir. You got Icky. Robert gave you Icky Ikwanu as your 9th pick. So you already have your offensive line according to us. But again, it'll be Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific time is when our stream will get started. And I know they won't even start the first pick for like another half hour after that. But there you go. Those are our 32 picks in our final mock draft. Come back next week to see the 5 that we got right. Is that fair?
Sounds fair.
5 sounds right? All right.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the sports that do not get enough airtime to finish out this 80th episode of the show. Aussie rules football. And I'm just going to get this out of the way. Hawthorne, listen, I came into this year, like last year, 0 expectations. They have blown my expectations out of the water, starting 3-2, beat Geelong, where that was a fantastic win. But they are the biggest headache to root for as they jump on teams. They jumped on Geelong, let them come back, ended up finishing strong. Against the Sydney Swans and our old buddy Franklin, Hawthorne scored the first 31 points. They had a 31-0 lead. Only one other team has lost a game this season when leading by 30 points or more. Hawthorne lost by 41 points. It's over a 70-point swing. They held the lead all the way till the fourth quarter. Never trailed until a few minutes into the fourth quarter. Gave up a couple goals. They were trailing by 11. I'm curious. I had to go somewhere. So I'm like, all right, I want to see if they get back into this. I skipped 5 minutes of gameplay. And they were down by over 30. It just, like, the floodgates completely opened up, and it was ugly. Good effort by Hawthorne. I love how they start. They got to get some legs underneath them and be able to change things up. Mitchell is fantastic at game planning, apparently. This is his first year as the head coach for the Hawthorne Hawks. He is horrible adjustments. But I have to remind myself that a lot of people are expecting them only to win 3 games all year. And we're 3-3. So I'm okay. Your team did better.
My team did a lot better. They ended up beating North Melbourne by 60. They held the North Melbourne to just 16 points in the first half. They were way ahead, 53-16. And even the third quarter was all dominant. It was a 60-point game then, but Geelong just kind of let them back in and score a few times, and which okay, they didn't have to play near as hard. But how about Jeremy Cameron? Yeah, Jeremy Cameron had a lights out day, 7 goals on the day, unbelievable. Your buddy Tommy only had 4 goals, so that's okay. But
Loser.
Jeremy Cameron has been a great pickup last year to this year, been playing lights out. So hats off to those guys as Geelong defeats North Melbourne 121-61.
Game of the week was definitely Adelaide and Western. Adelaide beats Western 63-62. So Western struggling early on in the year. They were good back and forth fourth quarter. Adelaide was able to take the lead, jump out to a 7-point lead there late. Western was able to get a goal with about 30 seconds to go. Score looks a little bit closer than it ended up being with that late goal, but it was a good back and forth, low scoring game. Port Adelaide finally gets their first win of the year, and it's a big one, 117-33 against West Coast, who most likely is going to win the Wooden Spoon this year. Mm-hmm. It's between West Coast and North Melbourne, basically, for that. And Melbourne stays undefeated. They defeat Richmond 76-54. So again, Melbourne is your top team at 6-0, and a 3-3 will make that top 8, which is very big. That's where Hawthorn's at. They're not there at the moment, but they are tied for that 8th spot. Week 7 got some good ones as well on Friday. Local times for all of these at 8:45 p.m. Geelong and Fremantle. So the 2nd place team and the 6th place team
be a good
battle it out this Friday. That'll be a fun one. Right after that, the undefeated Melbourne team takes on Hawthorn. I guarantee you Hawthorn leads in the first quarter. And we'll lose the game. But that is at 11:35 p.m. local time. On Saturday...
I guess that means you're just going to walk back-to-back games then, right? You'll watch Geelong and then roll right into Hawthorn.
I'm working in the casino, so there's a good chance that I will have it up while I'm waiting for my night to finally end. Saturday, St. Kilda versus Port Adelaide at 2:25 a.m. local time. And then Western and Essendon at 10:20 p.m. also on Saturday. So those are your matchups to watch for the AFL this week. You got to find them somewhere. I still have not seen a TV deal that has been worked out just yet, but hopefully soon. They're very, very fun. Go to NASCAR now, and Talladega happened. I got to watch the last 40 laps or so. It was entertaining with the green flag stops, kind of mixed things up, but there was an early wreck that took out some of the top contenders, and there are not enough great contenders in there to make it fantastic. About 10 laps to go. Few drivers really pushed that outside line, and we had some really great racing there for the last 10 laps. It was very, very fun to watch. And then, of course, going through the tri-oval that last time, they all wrecked. And Ross Chastain, who has admittedly said, I was doing nothing. He even says on the radio, he's like, I didn't do anything. He was sitting there in like 3rd place. First place driver tried to block the 2nd place driver. They wrecked each other, and he just stayed. He's like, I was never leaving the bottom. Ends up winning the race. Austin Dillon 2nd, Kyle Busch 3rd, Kyle Larson 4th, Martin Truex Jr. finished in 5th. Did you watch any of this?
I didn't get to watch any of it, but I did send you a picture. My buddy Will was at the race. He said it was an unbelievable race being there live and in person in Talladega. But chatting with my pop earlier today, Dad says, watch out for this Ross Chastain kid. He is going to be a contender all year. And we've talked about it a couple times. So if Dad says, watch out for Ross, I guess we better be watching and pulling for him a little bit more.
He's only happy because he beat Kyle Busch. But Ross Chastain, I believe, is only the 2nd driver this year to win multiple races. It was him and William Byron, right? So obviously a top contender right now, locked into the playoffs and driving extremely fast. He's been fast in every race. So I definitely agree with your dad.
Mm-hmm.
Their next race is at Dover. I like that track. Monster Mile, as a car could be just totally fine, and there's so many bumps coming out of those turns, out of turns 2 and 4, that they could hit the bump wrong or just have a slight lapse in focus and go right into that outside wall. So take a look there. PBA playoffs continued. They are trickling these things out. I was so mad when I found out only 2 matches were happening this week, and the other 2 quarterfinal rounds or matchups are next week.
And
Give me my bowling.
Yeah, for some reason, mine decided it was not recording until 2:00 this morning. So I was well in bed already. So I will be watching that after we are done here tonight, as we get ready, as I work on the pictures for our movie draft. I will watch those games, but
well, spoiler alerts, neither of them were that great. There's one good game between Chris Prather and Dom Barrett. That one was really good. But Kyle Troop sweeps Bill O'Neill. Chris Prather sweeps Dom Barrett. This weekend, you get Tommy Jones and Jesper Svensson. That's the only matchup you and I disagreed on. I took Jones, you took Svensson. And then AJ Johnson will take on Sean Maldonado in the other matchup. What happened in the golf world? They had a weird doubles tournament.
Yeah, it was the doubles tournament at the Zurich Classic there in Avondale, Louisiana. So just outside New Orleans. I love this format. These guys get to play. I picked Cantlay too early. I picked him 2 weeks ago in the Masters. He didn't really do much in the Masters.
It's because he needed a partner.
The last 2 weeks, Cantlay has played quite well. Him and Xander Zoffley go wire to wire and win the Zurich Classic. They shoot 29 under. So the format of how this works is they do best ball format on Thursday and on Saturday, and then they do alternate shot on Friday and Sunday. So the team shot 59 shoot 59 on Thursday. It's the lowest ever of in the Zurich Classic. They're at Louisiana. So great things happening there. Billy Horschel and Sam Burns make a big push. Sam being an LSU fan or LSU grad, so he had a lot of fans sitting there watching him. They do make a push to the end. They do shoot 4 under on Sunday. Just come up short as Schauffele and Cantlay is able to stay at even par after having a 5-stroke lead going into Sunday. Joel Damon and his partner Stefan Jaeger shoot 16 under. They finish tied for 29th. But I think the coolest one was seeing the father-son team of Jay and Bill Haas play. They ended up tied for 36. But Bill Haas, 72 years old. And they shoot 72. He's 68 years old and still the oldest man to make a PGA Tour cut. And to play with your kid and shoot,
that's very cool.
To shoot where they did. Yeah, they make a little bit of money where they're at, but it'll be interesting. Next tournament up is the Mexico Open. Don't know if Joel, and everything that I am finding, I do not believe Joel will be playing this week. He did tweet out today that he was on a plane. I don't know where he was on a plane to, but he will, I believe, be taking the week off. Big favorite in this one is going to be the Spaniard, John Rahm. He is favored to win this tournament coming up.
All right, before we get into this week in sports history, one last scoreboard update for you. We already said that the Nets have been eliminated. The Celtics defeat the Nets 116-112 to sweep that series. Raptors stave off elimination. They defeat the 76ers 103-88. So the 76ers now hold a 3-2 series lead in that one. Mavericks all over the Jazz right now, 52-36. That just hit halftime. Remember when we talked about the Mets and the Cardinals,
and it was a good pitchers
and that great pitchers duel. The Mets win at 5-2, After the Cardinals scored 2 runs in the bottom of the 8th inning after they took out Scherzer, May gives up 2 runs in the 8th. And Gallegos comes in the 9th inning to try to close it out, gives up 4 runs himself. McFarland also gives up 1. He gave up the 2-run home run. Mets win that one 5-2. Other scores today: Toronto beat Boston 6-2 behind Bo Bichette's first grand slam of his career. Philadelphia defeated the Rockies 8-2. Giants beat the Brewers 4-2. Currently going on right now, Texas is defeating Houston, and everyone in the AL West is excited by this. Texas leading 3-2 in the bottom of the 7th. They have 2 on with 2 out. Still scoreless between the Guardians and the Angels. They're in the 5th inning, and in the bottom of the 4th inning, Dodgers, who scored 2 runs before recording their first out of the game, still lead 2-0 against the Diamondbacks. All right, sir. This week in sports history.
This week in sports history for up through April 26th, 1947, the first NBA championship happened where the Philadelphia Warriors beat the Chicago Stags 4-2.
They need to be called the Stags again. That's awesome.
1952, the American Bowling Congress, also known as the ABC, approves the use of automatic pin setters in bowling. Can you imagine? It was finally 1952 when they figured things out that a little boy didn't have to sit back there and spot pins.
Do you think bowling would be more or less popular if that never became a thing?
Well, I think it'd still be less popular. I mean, look at how many people today. If they had to keep their own score today, that'd be nuts.
But no, you don't have to keep your own score. But just think of, like, I grew up in a bowling alley. I grew up at Imperial Bowl, keeping score in my early teen years, maybe even younger than that, keeping score for these different leagues. And it just put me into the bowling world. Can you imagine all these kids living in the bowling world, having to reset all these pin setters, learning to do the scorekeeping and stuff? Maybe we would have indoctrinated more kids into bowling at a younger age by child labor than we do now. I'm just saying. But go ahead.
Yeah. Put them to work. 1960, a record 4 Grand Slams were hit in that day.
If your trivia question is name those 4 players, I'm never doing the show again.
No. Okay, I wasn't that mean. 1989, Nolan Ryan strikes out his 5,000th career batter. 1996, Chicago Bulls win their record 72 games in a season. Mm-hmm. And got to go to one of my favorite pitchers of all times. 2008, John Smoltz of the Atlanta Braves becomes the 16th Major League Baseball player to record 3,000 career strikeouts.
Yep. Yes. Hit me with the trivia question, sir.
All right. I have 2 of them. Let's go the easier one first. 1989, Nolan Ryan strikes out his 5,000th batter. Who was that 5,000 batter?
You said that's the easier one?
This is the easier one.
Ken Griffey.
No.
Non-junior person.
It is a non-junior person. Let me help you out with a little teaser.
Okay.
He's the steals record holder.
Oh, is it Henderson?
It is Ricky Henderson. I give you a little bit.
Okay.
And then I am going to go back to 1960 for a second. 1960 record 4 Grand Slams were hit that day. That is not the record. I just want the record. Tell me what is the record for the most Grand Slams hit in a day?
6.
You are very close. It is 7.
I was going. It had to be close. It wasn't going to be like 13.
It only happened about 5 years ago, June 3rd, 2017. Los Angeles Dodgers Chris Taylor, Milwaukee Brewers Travis Shaw, Atlanta's Matt Adams, Colorado's Ian Desmond, Chicago Cubs Kyle Schwarber, Seattle's Mike Zunino, and Albert Pujols, and he hit his 600th career home run that day. So 7 is the answer.
There you go. You stumped me twice.
I wasn't trying to. That one I knew was going to be hard. I figured you'd jump all over the Ricky Henderson one.
That's why everyone's like, again, to go back on this Aaron Boone stuff. No one remembers this crap. Like, Aaron Boone was not worried about people going, oh, which team did Cabrera hit his 3,000 hit on? I don't care. In a couple of years, I'll forget. I'm just happy that Cabrera got his 3,000th hit.
Yes, indeed.
Jeez. All right. That's going to do it for our 80th episode, sir.
Yes, 80 episodes, and we got to thank a lot of people, and I'm going to do a few here really quick. Some people that have stood behind you and I for a
Mhm.
long time. Both of our significant others, Denise and Haley,
No,
standing
we're not going
behind
to
us.
thank them. They
I,
love the fact that we get away for a couple hours.
They do. My wife come in here and she was playing Rick Springfield on the phone as she's chuckling at the door now. But we got to thank her.
Yeah.
A lot of people. Denny Grubb has added so much to our
Mhm.
content. We love that. Folks like Eric, Harry, Paul, making Alicia making things possible for
Yeah.
us at the
Alicia's
station.
hooked us up with
And
so many different interviews over the last year and a half, almost basically 2 school years.
yep. And there's a lot of people we could thank, sports athletes that have joined us.
Mhm.
Gino, a lot of them, and even Arnett, team execution, dude. They have helped grow a lot of our stuff over the last 80 shows. So thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Obviously, we're throwing the whole Arnett group as they have been a big part of the last couple months of this show and building it up, and then they will train with you, and it's going to be fantastic. Big shout out to Kai Fong for kicking our butts when we hit 500 followers last year. Also, big shout outs to Brian Bromling, who has covered a show for us when I was in Portland, and the internet was just impossible for me to be able to join, and we had to get a show out that week. Just give out the shout outs to everyone that has done our sports related drafts. And we've had a lot of fun with that. We'll just roll through them. Eric Watkins, Jesse Knight, Harry Broadhurst, Mike Tatko, Bromling, David Duferberg, Tony Barden, Corey Thieveridge, Khalil Stevenson, another big fan of the show. We got to get him back on so he could try to break Alicia's record before we get Alicia back on to talk about all the baseball stuff coming on as well. Kevin Nolette, Brian Danner, Jordan Brown, Denny Grubb, Deanna Caruso, even though she picked the wrong person, Robert Taylor, and Paul Dazenbrock. We're having so much fun with this show. We keep expanding it and coming up with new fun ways to add to the show. Again, 80 episodes in, we're getting really close to our or our summer break time, and that's usually where we start really bouncing ideas off of each other and try to come up with different fresh ways to bring on this show. So if you have any ideas for us,
Yeah, let us
definitely
know what we talked about.
either hit us up in the messengers or just on our Facebook page. We're near 600. We're only growing from here, and we appreciate each and every one of you for sure. And of course, do not forget Thursday night, 5 p.m. Pacific time. Robert, myself, Harry Broadhurst, Eric Watkins from the Broadhurst and Watkins Sports Report name stealers. But by the way, I should have wrote this down before our show. Eric Watkins came up with the greatest name for our show on Thursday. But it was like the R and W and B Super Showdown Report show. It was like this long ass thing. It's going to take like a minute to say it. I have to go back and get it for Thursday. But we will be doing a live stream, watch along, if you will, of the first round of the NFL draft. We did it last year. We had a lot of fun, even though we were not as prepared as we should have been. We're prepared this year, at least more prepared than last year. So come join us, have some fun. And if you're somehow are still listening to this ramble and you want to hop on the show on Thursday, let us know. Even in the comments, all you need is a camera and a mic, or if your phone works perfectly. We've had many interviews with somebody just holding their phone up like they're taking a selfie.
Shannon Wilson.
Shannon Wilson, yes. Just if you want to hop on and discuss who you think your team's going to take and they're coming up, let us know. If you want to react to a pick, let us know there too. I already have a couple feelers out for a couple people. But come on it. We're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be over 4 hours, so we have no problems having a small break and letting you rant about your team. Keep it PG, and we will have fun doing that. Again, we will post something on Thursday to let everyone know that come on in. It's a party. It's what the NFL draft should be. It's a lot of hope and optimism until your pick gets made, and then it's a lot of dread and doubt. That's the jet way, at least. But for now, 80 episodes in.
Haiti.
We're going to end it like we do every single time. Thank you guys so much. But that is Robert. I am Randy, and we